able to attend those or not, or make it on that particular time, because once you'll register for each session, your calendar gets blocked and you'll be updated with an email which would have the recording link and the deck to all those specific sessions. So even if you do not make it live, it is a great resource for you all to have. Make sure you all share it with your counterparts, your colleagues, so that they grab the value as well. Feel free to ask as many questions as possible. Leverage the chat. We have experts to support you all throughout. And it's not just the role of the experts as participants. If you all think that you all could answer a question in the chat, feel free to jump in. That is the spirit of community. We're all like one and a family. Even the speakers you all see today are people like yourselves trying to share their knowledge, come up and give value to the community. Towards the end, we also have a dedicated time for question and answer, where all can unmute yourselves and interact. So whatever suits you the best. Uh, I think that is all from my side. I'd want it to be as interactive as possible, and I'll hand it over to the speaker for today, Jeevan. Over to you.
Thank you, Suhani. Can you hear me okay? Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, let's get started. Yeah. Okay, so let's try to understand why are we here today and the opportunity that we have with QA going forward. Right? So we're going to discuss about S-curve theory, which is an important theory uh, that a lot of business leaders uses it to understand the progress of an idea or their project and their business at various points. And this S-curve represents the growth of an idea over time, right? It is characterized by three different phases. Number one, when an idea starts, it is rather slow, right? And the second, the stage of an idea or the business is the growth phase, where you would see a rapid growth and it scales up rapidly. And then it slowly gets into a maturity phase or the saturation phase. And from there, you will either see that idea gets into another S to build with another wave of new innovation, or if it does not catch up to that another S, it can either saturate and ultimately go down. And we have seen so many businesses and how standard photography businesses with Kodak and digital cameras have played out, and how the DVD business led to digital video sharing platforms, and while it has created so many new businesses, some of the leaders from the previous era have vanished as well. It's a great theory, right? So now let's try to apply it to testing and try to understand what's happening to testing. If you look at from a testing market perspective, in the past, testing was predominantly manual, and over time, automation testing kind of created a new wave of innovations into the testing industry, right? And now, with the availability of AI and agentic capabilities, this is going to be taken up to a whole new level, right? This is what we believe. And if you try to understand these three distinct phases within the testing for the last couple of decades, manual testing happened to be predominantly uh, delivered with a manual workforce, and automation testing mainly focused on saving the execution time, right? Everything else is manual even during the automation testing, except the execution, if your automation scripts are good enough to run. But with agentic, you're going to have a new game altogether. It is capable to automate almost a lot of things that you do within testing, whether it is with test design or defects management or test data management or test execution and test maintenance and reporting and so on. It brings in a lot of intelligence and then make the testing to a whole new level. So with this thought process as a foundation, let's get to how UiPath is looking into this agentic testing and the next wave of testing, to be honest. And software testing market has huge potential. And today it is about $40 billion market with about 10% of it on tools and rest of it is around the delivering the value with on the testing. Now it is expected to grow to almost 100% within the next 5 years. Here, the key factor that's going to play in this growth is going to be agentic testing, because your traditional test automation has reached the saturation, right? You can only do so much with your traditional test automation, and hence the opportunity here. And we would like to highlight a couple of things with UiPath. UiPath is known for its RPA capability, very well known. And even RPA, most part of it was traditional automation, right? Though it is capable of production grade automation, it was more traditional style. And UiPath has started investing in AI right from the very beginning of the AI growth, right? For about 7-8 years now. And UiPath wanted to become an AI-powered automation platform by providing two key automation capabilities. One is the traditional production automation that you would perform in the production landscape. The other one is use a similar AI-powered automation capabilities for your test automation. And UiPath has clearly segregated these two things just to make sure the market adoption does not get confused with the offerings. And hence, there is a dedicated product for testing was launched in 2020 initially, right? And every year it has got a huge shift in terms of its offering to align to what market really wanted it, right? Over time. So we have added the test integration platforms. We've added the cloud deployment models. And about 2 years ago, the focus has completely shifted to AI-powered test automation within the test cloud. And this is the focus that we're going to be talking about today. And as you see, UiPath test automation platform has gone through a huge curve and huge growth pattern here, right? From 10 customers using UiPath test automation back in 2020, it has grown to 200 customers in 2021. And while customer adoption is growing, we continue to make the product more relevant and aligned to what customers wanted it. And hence the growth you see, right? And today, UiPath test automation platform is trusted by over 3,000 customers across all the industries, whether it is banking or life sciences, high-tech industries, oil and gas industries, manufacturing industries, retail, public sector. You can apply UiPath Test Cloud across all of these industries, across various different testing use cases. So with that, let me play a simple video for us to get a good kick before we get into the next set of. Can you hear the sound, Surya?
No, Jivan, I think you need to share the sound. Yeah.
Okay, so just a second. Okay, so yeah.
Modern life and the rules have changed. They've really changed in that little thing called the world economy. How we buy.
Oh, sorry.
Modern life and the rules have changed. They've really changed in that little thing called the world economy. How we buy things changed, run things changed, build and test software changed, ship software changed, serve customers changed, how we manage companies, communities, countries changed. The rules have changed, the tools have changed. Introducing UiPath Test Cloud, the most complete, the most up-to-date, the most what you need, the most open, secure set of agentic testing software tools ever assembled under one cloud. Agentic to the core, enterprise ready, AI enabled at the trust layer, so you can be a software hero. You, yes, you can break the neck of the bottleneck. You, yes, you can get the job done better than ever before. You can get more done. Do less dumb, have more fun. Agentic testing on UiPath Test Cloud. Yes, you can. UiPath Test Cloud. Tools for the new rules.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get into the architecture part of it, and what does UiPath Test Cloud brings in as a capability for you, so that you and your teams can leverage it and deliver superior quality assurance value. Yeah. So UiPath Test Cloud provides you a comprehensive testing platform, right? Test management tool, a browser-based tool, and test development IDE for building your automation, and orchestration and robots gives you an end-to-end control room for you to manage and add and bring in the governance and compliance and administration capabilities across the platform. One single tool for you to manage everything. And robots are your traditional test execution agents, right? The rule-based engine. And agents is the newest addition to the test cloud for the last 18 to 24 months, where you will see dedicated AI capabilities that are provided to you to leverage to perform quite a lot of tasks using AI, and you'll also see these agents capability will also provide you the building capability. You can build your own AI agents as well in a low code, a no code fashion. Yeah. And this testing platform covers quite a lot of integrations out of the box. And we see a lot of enterprises uses tools like Jira, Azure DevOps, and SAP Cloud ALM, Solution Manager, and so on. And all of these integrations are part of this integration layer that you don't need to build and manage them. You can use them from day one. And with one single test or testing platform, you can pretty much execute your testing projects across 190 different technologies and applications. And it is proven to work on all of these applications. And we work with most of these technology companies as trusted technology partners. And with this relationship, we also bring to you quite a lot of reusable assets in terms of automations and integrations and activities as such. And from the agentic testing perspective, UiPath is one of the very few testing platforms today that gives you a full coverage for your agentic testing. What do you mean by that? So one is it provides you about 20 pre-built AI agents that will help you to perform different testing tasks that your teams does on a day-to-day basis. For example, building test automations. There is an agent for you using which you supply your manual test case. It creates an automated test case for you. generate tests for your requirement is an AI agent that takes in your user story or your test requirements as an input and designs the test cases for you using various different test design techniques. And these are pre-built and ready to use from day one. The next one, build your own, right? And of course, there are so many use cases in testing that we cannot solve everything for you in a standard way. Hence, we provide you a complete toolkit for you to build some of these similar agents for different purposes, right? SOX control testing, test optimizer, and so on, right? You can build these agents on your own with the tools that we provide you, the underlying LLMs, underlying tools, in a low code, no code fashion. And bring your own is a way that you can bring your own AI investments, the agents that your teams have built or your AI initiatives had resulted in, that you can call as part of your UiPath end-to-end testing processes, right? And hence we call this as a comprehensive coverage for your agentic testing. And now when you have such agentic powers with you and your teams, what comes next? The responsibility, right? Like humans, even agents could become rogue if we don't constantly monitor and guide them the right way. And hence, we do provide a comprehensive compliance control room for you to create those rules and guidance for the agents to ensure they continue to align to your business processes and deliver the outcomes you intended them to deliver, right? So that's the key here, right? Sometimes some people say we are already using ChatGPT, hence we also call our testing agentic testing, right? So that's a very an entry level way of doing things, but with UiPath, you are much more in an advanced way in terms of managing your data and controlling the usage of agents and AI and the data across all your teams, right? That's the key. And now, if you get into the project methodology, how you can bring in agentic testing into a project methodology, for example, Agile, right? You will coordinate with the business team as you receive the user stories and the change requests. You engage the testing teams to build and run the show of testing in an iterative way until the final release or final outcome is achieved. It's going to be iterative, right? And during this process, you will have various UiPath tools automatically come in place and help your teams seamlessly collaborate and deliver the final result much, much faster than any other standard test automation tool. Let me show you how. This is your technical solution architecture. You start your testing process from your ALM tool. Your business team defines the user stories, right? Step number one. Oh. And with the out-of-the-box integrations, your user stories from the ALM tool would automatically appear into UiPath Test Manager. And then the agents are going to quickly scan through those requirements and help your teams validate the quality of it. Or if the quality is good enough, they're going to design the test cases for you, right? And of course, remember, humans are going to participate in each of the steps. In a traditional approach, humans have to drive everything, but now agents are going to help the humans, assist the humans to reduce that work drastically, as much as 80%. And once your test cases are designed, you use our test management solution, test data management solution called Data Fabric to build the data combinations for driving your test cases, right? And if it is a simple web application that you're automating web browser-based applications, you wouldn't even need our advanced studio, which is building the automation capability. You can simply use our browser-based studio to quickly build your automation test. And if you have an end-to-end test that's going to go across web application to mobile and to APIs and to SAP and so on, you can always use our desktop-based IDE to build such a complex and end-to-end test, completely on low code, no code. Step number five is integration with your Git to enhance your version controlling capability during the test development, and also encourage the collaboration across your teams. Number 6, you manage your sensitive data and organize your testing assets and results management directly within the orchestrator. This is taken care. Number 7, once your tests are ready for execution, robots will pick up those jobs and run your test cases in your backend infrastructure, and then send all of the results back into the UiPath test management solution, right? Number 7. And with the out-of-the-box integration, it's already available. These results will get automatically transferred back into your ALM tool for your business to see and have a full visibility into how testing has run, and the results and defects are directly visible in the ALM tool. And this will give your business the full confidence on the entire QA lifecycle that is being run by your teams. That's the whole the technical architecture with UiPath. And from the customer story perspective, so Cisco uses UiPath quite heavily from the AI perspective, and they see over 50% savings on their testing processes. And if you look at from a comparison perspective, why you should look at UiPath, consider UiPath for your testing needs is, of course, it provides you an end-to-end platform and provides you a production-grade orchestration. The key differentiators for us is agentic testing with the AI capabilities inbuilt and with the full-blown coverage with the governance and compliance there. And UiPath has been consistently rated as leader in the testing space in G2 and IDC. And this is the report from the last month. And this is a public report. You can always go ahead and look for it and see it for yourself. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Surya for taking us through the solution capability.
Thank you, Jivan. Hi, everyone. Let me quickly share my screen. Jivan, if you could confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see our screen.
Awesome. Sorry, guys. So, thanks everyone for joining today's session, and thanks Jivan for setting the context and stage, and thanks Suhani for organizing this without any issues. Uh, so, so Jivan spoke about the architecture and the platform capabilities, and I understand and I can anticipate that everyone's much more interested in agentic capabilities of the platform, but we will take it in a phase-wise manner. We have 3 sessions, like we already discussed in the beginning of the session. So today, what we are going to cover from our demonstration perspective is a quick overview of the entire platform. So all the components that Jeevan touched upon in the architecture slide, and what are the different AI capabilities that we have at every phase of the test development lifecycle. So we'll not demonstrate the capabilities, but I'll quickly show you what they do and how it looks like. But then in subsequent sessions that we do next week and the following week, we will actually deep dive into each of these capabilities and show you how it works. So that's the idea, because we don't want to overwhelm you with all the features that we have. It's a very powerful platform, and having demonstrating all of them in one single session would be very overwhelming for anyone to look at. So quickly, if you circle back to the slide that Jivan shared about the architecture, we have Test Cloud as an end-to-end test automation solution, enterprise for enterprise testing. And then there are three main components within Test Cloud: Test Manager, Orchestrator, and then the Studio. Actually, Test Manager, Studio, and the Orchestrator if we follow the test development lifecycle, right? And the autopilot features or agentic AI features that we have are actually distributed across each of these uh, capabilities, right? So to start with, uh, and please consider this, how I'm demonstrating is also the same methodology and the life cycle that we generally follow for any testing project, software testing project, be it a manual or automation. So any project that we start with is with requirement analysis, right? So you get a requirements from the business, and as a test lead or a test analyst or someone from a testing team, we quickly go through the requirements, understand the requirements, and start writing manual test cases, and then identify which needs to be automated as a part of your regression or smoke testing. We automate them, and then manual automation combined we execute, and finally we have the reports for that particular test execution. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is the landing page of the test manager. So I've already created a test manager project where I'll start writing the requirements and generating test cases. And it's a very simple UI, right? So requirements where you maintain your requirements, test cases where you write test cases for each of these requirements, test sets where you combine your test cases into a sequential block, which you will run as a part of your specific testing life cycle, maybe regression, a smoke, or a UAT testing, SIT testing, etc. And then we have execution where you monitor your executions, where you look at your results and outcomes of your test executions and generate reports. Um, so start with requirements. So I've already created a requirement, which you can see. It's a simple requirement for submitting a loan application, which you need to test. And what you see here is requirement specification that I got from a business. So right now, what I have is something that I have written it down here, created a requirement manually, but you also have an option to integrate with different ALM tools so that all the requirements that you create appear here in this list. And the next step that we generally do once you have the requirement, like we discussed, is start writing test cases. But before that, as a tester, as a testing team, what we struggle with most is understanding the requirement, make to and fro communication with the business to understand in more detail, get more information, get more clarifications on few things, which is a very tedious and time-taking process. So sometimes it takes weeks, and sometimes it may even take months to get a clarity of the requirements. Now, this is where our first autopilot feature comes in, where you can actually say the agent that please evaluate the quality of the requirement that you have, and you can provide all the supporting documentation that your business might have. And what it will generally what it will actually do is so we'll deep dive into all this in the subsequent sessions, but I'm just trying to explain the overview. So what it basically does is understands all the documentation of your application, the flowcharts, the process diagrams, the user journey documentation that you provide, whatever you can provide. It understands the context of it, analyzes, and you means tells the tester, suggests some recommendations, and say that see something is missing in this requirement. Maybe it can be improved with so and so specifications of so and so messages, specifications of some more details around test data, what can be used, and what's the behavior of the application if something happens like this. If these things are missing, it can actually suggest you few things, which helps the tester to go back to the business in much faster than someone sitting reading through the requirements for days understanding it, can go back. So it suggests what is a possibility to enhance the quality of the requirement. So you can look through it, and at the end, it's always the tester who need to take the call. So you'll just add, if you feel that, okay, this is something that needs to be tested, and this is something that's not defined as a part of your user specification, what should happen uh, if page load time takes more time, or is there any specific time frame that your page should load? Maybe it falls under performance testing or load testing. But then if you feel that it should be a part of your testing and this is not something that's clearly specified in requirement, you can actually add it to the requirement from here, and it just adds to your requirement. You can actually go back to your business and say, see, this is something that I need more clarity on. They can provide you more clarity. And this is a to and fro process that you can do with your business. Once you have the quality of the requirement locked, and you are confident that, okay, now I have everything that I need to start writing test cases, that's when the second AI agent comes in, wherein it can actually write or generate manual test cases for you based on the prompts that you give. You can actually tell the agent that, please, as per the requirement specification, please generate an end-to-end test case that covers all the basic functionality of this particular requirement as per the user journey. You can even tell that generate boundary specific test cases. You can tell that generate test cases that focus on only UI field validations. So based on the prompts that you give, it basically generates test cases, uh, and actually gives you something like this. So it says step 1, step 2, step 3, and this could be your manual test case. So if you feel that this is the right test case and it generated rightly, this is something that should be part of your testing. You can select it and say create test. Once you do that, so you have your test case created, which is linked to your requirement, and it's basically a manual test case. So if you click on it, so it gives you a description. This is all generated by our AI agent. So tests loan approval for applicants aged between 18 and 30 with income over 50,000, requesting less than 30,000 for any term. So it clearly defines what's the focus of the test and what should be tested at the end of the execution. And it also clearly defines your manual tests based on the user journey and requirement documentation that we have provided. It also, if your requirement definition is very clear and your business has given you right documentation, it even captures the expected behavior and what's the description that you need to verify, etc. Usually these are there for any business. These are there in a URS document, but sometimes these are not provided by the business, but they are there somewhere in a documentation. So it is actually beneficial for a tester to just provide the link to the documentation, and then the AI agent takes care of it, going through the documentation and fetching these details for us. So this is the second step, where we now understood the requirements generated to the test cases. And this all happens in one platform if you observe. The next step is that you either execute it as a manual test case as a part of your testing scope, or you identify it as the right automation candidate, and then you wanted to build an automation around this for this particular test case. Okay, so I'll quickly tell you, I'll not run this, but there is an option to run with autopilot, which means that this is an assisted manual testing, which means that the autopilot agent is able to understand the manual tests that we have provided here, opens up this URL, and when I say click apply for the loan button, so it goes and clicks on it, it understands the natural language and does the execution for you, which is called assisted manual testing, and then um, captures the result at the end of the execution. The next step for us is, if we wanted to build an automation around it, which we wanted to put more logic and more conditioning around the test data, and then build a proper automation script around it, that's when we jump into the test studio, which is our integrated development environment where you actually build your automation. Again, it's a low code, no code approach. So like Jeevan suggested, if it's a web application, you can use the web studio itself, which is there within the test manager. Uh, the studio itself where you can build the automation for web applications. But if you want to build a complex automation, which is an end-to-end flow, starts from your desktop application, goes to web application, goes to your SAP, and then you verify something on your mobile application. So you can actually use a in UiPath Studio, which is a IDE for building your test automation scenarios. So it has a integration to your test manager. So I have already linked it to our test manager project. So all the test cases that you build here or that you generate here already appear in your studio project. So from where you can actually say generate test case. So basically what it does is an AI agent that understands what you generated in the manual test case in the test manager. And then it already has an object repository that we built to identify the controls on the screen using different locators and algorithms. So it's intelligent enough to generate a flow for you like this, which actually helps you build a automated flow for about 50-60% of development effort. And then all you need to do is go through the flow once, map the right data, right variables, configure the right environment specific data, and then you are good to go. So this actually reduces your test development also time also to about 50-60%. And I'm not saying that it will generate 100% automated test for you, which you can just click and then you can start running it, because automation needs a lot of configurations, a lot of data management. If you are building a proper regression suite, so it will build a, a skeleton for you, which is about 50-60% correct. And then you need to actually um, provide right data variables, right data mapping to your data driven testing, right mapping to your environment specific variables, and then your automated test case is ready. So once it's ready, you can actually go back to your test manager and you can see that now this manual test case is also having a automation link to it, which means that this is also automated. So when you execute it next time, it executes on the cloud, which is our next next capability that we talked about, which is our orchestrator. So orchestrator, let's not go deep into it right now. It's more of a platform where you will actually set up your test robots, which are your unattended executions. You will actually maintain your versioning of your test cases and projects. You will actually uh, have the executions triggered through CI/CD pipelines if you have integrations in place. So test orchestrator is basically a central platform where you manage your executions, which are unattended and triggered by other CI/CD tools. Um, so once you have it, orchestration done, so you have your test cloud robots configured, which are nothing but uh, cloud VMs where your unattended executions happen. Quickly go to test sets. You build a test set with all the test cases that you wanted to execute as a part of your testing. So all your test cases are here. And then you can say, go here and say executed either in a manual way, if you're doing a manual testing, an automated way if you want to trigger automated tests, or you can create a schedule, which means you wanted to trigger over a weekend or some specific time, you can create a schedule. Or if you already have your test set linked to your CI/CD pipeline, the trigger happens from the pipeline as well, based on the build result that when the build triggers and it's successful, then it triggers the test set from the CI/CD tool itself. Now, once that is done, so I'll quickly execute this test case just for you to understand how it works. So I've started the execution. It it automatically moves to the execution section and it says this is the execution that's happening. And right now, you see the execution has started because I configured my mission as the test robot mission. It opened up an application. You can see it's quickly getting executed. Yeah, so it's done. So it has done a basic loan application, and your loan ID is generated. Now, once your execution is done, you can just refresh and you can see the results. So it says pass. You click on it, and then based on how you build the test case, you can see the assertions. So I told that pass the test case or test case is successful only if the verification is passed, which is the success message, which will be this, and this is the success message. And within the logs, you can actually see in detail what happened in every step based on the logging that I have defined on at my test case level. So it also captures what's defined as a part of your automation. And then the execution details will give you on which system it got executed at what time, what's the mission on which it is executed, and what's the result. And it will also give you more details based on the arguments and variables or test data that's used. And then it also gives you what are the affected requirements. So if it fails, what is the requirement that's affected? You can directly go from the same section itself. Now, the interesting part here is once the execution is done, so you can, so all of these are last last 10 or last 15 executions that happened. And this is our latest one, which is executed a minute ago. Now, the interesting thing about execution results is that for any test project, there needs to be two type of execution results. One for the on-ground or testing team, for them to know what exactly happened during the execution if something failed, and what are the insights that you can get from the last few executions that are happening. And the idea is that the report should tell you as an automation team how stable is your automation suite, uh, how reliable it is, and what are the specific test cases or what are specific areas where your executions are mostly failing. And you need details around why it's failing, be it a functional issue, be it a automation script issue, be it environment issue. So all these insights needs to be passed on to a automation team so that they can actually work on stabilizing the automation much much optimized and better way. The other report that generally is expected from test execution is the executive report, which you need to share with your management. Just tells you health of the application, what's executed in past few days, how much is the pass percentage, fail percentage, and what's more concerning, what requirements are actually getting more affected. So these are two types of reports, right? The first report is the report for the test automation team. I'll just show you a report which is there in my other project because it's more comprehensive. It has more runs to it. So this is the kind of insights that you get after every execution. So what it tells you is overview of your execution. So it tells you for that particular test set that you have executed over time in the past few weeks, you have executed over 10 times, let's say. It tells you overview that overall failure rate is found to be this much percentage. So 5 out of 18 test executions uh, failed. You can click on it, show, and it tells you which executions that failed and gives you rightly points you to uh, correct results which failed. So all these test cases failed in the past few cycles that you have done, and you can actually go into and see the results, etc. So the second, it will also tell you what are high severity errors accounted for how much of the total errors. So 2 out of 5 failed test executions, reporting a severity error that needs to be taken care of. And then some low severity errors accounted 60%. And what are those? And then what are your top failing tests? So there is some tests which is actually failing, 28% of your execution time. And what are those tests? And there is this test which fails because of validation. Uh, so it gives you an insight into uh, how you can report back to your business saying that, okay, there is this test which fails continuously after every build because of a validation issue. So that is something that needs to be optimized or corrected in the backend from a code perspective. And then there is this test that says that has a failure rate of 14%. So it failed one of 17 executions. And then it also tells you, analyzes your execution results and say common errors. So some unknown error is very common in 3 of your executions. One execution failed because it could not find the UI element for that particular action. So it could be a bug, maybe intermittent bug, we don't know. So we can analyze looking at this result. And then there is one execution that failed for goal selection and template creation, indicating functionality is not working as expected. So this could also be a bug. It helps you do a RCA much faster. And then the patterns of your errors. So what kind of errors you are getting more. Is it a functional error, or is it a UI error, you're not able to click on something, or is it a script issue, which means that it's not able to fetch the test data properly, or it's not able to execute the proper test step due to activity issue or something. So these are all the insights that you get, which helps you in your RCA much faster. uh, and you can actually go back with these results to your business and help them with right log, right details, and right metrics about how frequently they're failing, what are the major issues, etc., which are not available conventionally. So it takes ages for you to do an RCA for a proper 100 test cases or 200 test cases for regression suit, right? Imagine you're having 500 test cases of regression suit and you get these kind of insights. Insights of top 3 errors, top 3 failure test cases, top 3 overview of all the executions that are happening. Imagine what kind of value that it can give to you, right? That's the first report. The next report that we have, which is for upper management or higher management, is insights, which actually gives you overall health of your test project that you are having. It gives a, so it gives you a platform where you can customize your own dashboards, or you can use the existing test manager execution report that UiPath Test Cloud provides. So what it has right now, existing report, is the execution trend of last few days, few months, based on the filters that you apply. So right now it's last 90 days. And then what are the test projects? So you can filter based on the projects, or if you want to just give a overview of entire test project status, you can give. And then the execution types. It gives you last 10 executions, durations, pass and failure counts, and it gives you automation rates. So how many of them are automated executions and how many of them are manual test executions. And then it tells you um, what are the machines where your executions are mostly happening. This could be a good input for your infra team, about the utilization of VMs, etc. And then who are the testers that are actually executing more, and then the results on a weekly basis. So this is the existing or predefined dashboard that you can use, or you can also build your own dashboards using this insights. And there is also other feature where you can download this as a PDF and share it across, or you can also schedule the delivery of this report every week or every bi-weekly or every monthly to your upper management. Mention your email addresses to whom it should go to. Then you define the format and then the recurrence and save. So based on the schedule that you have defined, the same report in a PDF format goes to all the people who are in the email distribution list. So this is the overview of the platform. So the idea of today's demo is just for you to have a quick peek into the platform of all the sections that we have and what we can do. And for the next two sessions, what we are going to do is deep dive into Test Manager, deep dive into Test Studio, deep dive into AI capabilities, and deep dive into reports in the next two sessions. We'll also showcase quick demos of how you can quickly build test cases from the requirements, how you can quickly evaluate the quality of the requirements, how you can quickly build a automation in a studio. So these are all lined up for next two sessions. So in the interest of time, I'll stop here. Maybe I'll quickly share my screen. So please feel free to post all your questions in the chat. We'll try to get back, if not today, in the subsequent sessions, if we are not able to cover them today. Um, so with this, what I wanted to share is, so if you wanted to try out something after today's session or after next two sessions that we do, so we have a training plan that's curated for all the interested candidates. So you can, so this, obviously this presentation is available for you after the session. It's uploaded in the community portal. You can download it from there. So you can request for a trial license. You can try your hands on the entire platform. So with all the features in the community edition, you can actually start going through our academy courses, which will help you understand the platform much better after the sessions that we finish in the next 2 weeks. And you can also get certified. And during this journey, please feel free to get back to us with questions, clarifications, doubts you may need, or also suggest that what you wanted to see further in these sessions, what you'd like to see, and we'd be happy to share with you guys all the details. And just one last comment from my side before I switch to Q&A. The idea of having these community sessions is that understand, obviously, take the test cloud capabilities to the testing community we have, but also to build this community, start understanding the industry practices, sharing our best practices. And we would also like to, hear from you guys if someone's really interested in taking this further and participate in further sessions, or we encourage you to actually come back with your implementation use cases, study material that you might have built, or success stories that you build, or you have already tried your hands on, you're already using test cloud in your project. So if you want to present, please come forward. We are happy to, support you guys and provide the platform so that every one of us can benefit from what we are sharing in this community. So yeah, with that, I'll stop. Maybe open up for Q&A. Me and Jeevan will take few questions. In the interest of time, we only have 5 minutes, but we'll try to answer most of them. But if not, in subsequent sessions, or we'll keep active on community as well.
Okay. Sure, Surya. Just a second. Let me share my screen. Yes. This is a quick feedback form for you to share what you think about today's session, and also provide us some feedback on what you would like to see more on UiPath Test Cloud in the next sessions, right? That's one thing that we need your help with. Please take a few seconds and provide us this feedback. This will help us greatly, number one. And number two, the next two sessions, like Surya had mentioned, it's going to be more on the technical capabilities. Feel free to join and encourage your teams to join if you find these sessions are useful. We hope so. That's one. Okay, so let's get through the questions, and we have tried answering quite a lot of questions via the chat, and two questions that I've picked up with the interest of time. Surya, if you'd like to take a shot at it. The number one question is performance testing, and when is it going to be released?
Yeah, I think it's in preview. So it's going to be released soon. Jeevan, do you know the exact date? I don't have it, but then, yeah.
Yeah, it is currently in preview. and it is expected to be released in the October release of UiPath Test Cloud, right?
Yeah. And the idea of it is that again you have the performance testing capability also in the same platform, so you can actually reuse your existing tests and have the entire end-to-end testing, not just functional testing, but have everything at one place and easy to report as well. Yeah, you will have it soon in the next release.
Yeah.
Right. Currently, it's in preview.
Sure. Thank you, Surya. And the next question is from Prashant again, Prashant Desmo. And he was asking, is autopilot good enough for me to run my test lifecycle, or do I need to build my own agents? And if so, can you give us some examples?
So Prashant, thanks for the question. I think it's actually relevant when we talk about AI agentic testing and capabilities. So if you remember the slide that Jeevan presented, so there are three different aspects to it. One is inbuilt agents, so pre-built autopilot agents that we already provide as a part of the platform. So these are these are actually enough for you to start using for your day-to-day testing activities in terms of requirement analysis, test case generation, report generation, AI insights into reports, automated test cases generation, executing manual test cases in an automated way. So this is already there. But then, so some use cases in testing which are very specific to a business, which are not generic to every business, right? So those are the use cases which we cannot build as a generic agent, and that's the reason why we provide all the agent framework to someone as a tester who can build their own agents on top of it in a low code way. So maybe you have a specific data generation process within your testing, which is not relevant to any other testing community. So only in specific to your project, you have a specific process where you use specific rules and queries to generate test data before test execution. Now that could be a custom use case for your project, in which case you can actually build your own agent to act in a specific way that you want for your project. So you have the platform to build, but you can build your own agent. But then if your business already built some agents outside Test Cloud, so you have a AI team or innovation team that are building some agents which you use day in, day out in your testing. You can also integrate them into the Test Cloud and start using them in your projects. So that's how these are differentiated. So to your question, if you ask that is the Test Cloud built-in platform enough, AI capabilities are enough to go about my testing, yes. If you only talk about testing life cycle, all the generic capabilities that we need are already present. So you can actually kickstart end-to-end agentic testing with the platform that we already have.
Thanks, Surya.
Okay, awesome. And the last question for today was from Vital. He was asking about the documentation. So what do I do if I would like to create documentation? Do you have a pre-built agent, or should I be building a custom agent, which I can take, Surya? See, for us, if your documentation is more rules-based documentation, so you can use task capture, which is part of Test Manager, and this is a simple recording tool with the underlying documentation engine. As your users navigate through the application in a recording mode, it automatically creates a documentation for all of those steps. That's a standard way. However, we also see now some of our customers feel this approach is more time consuming and they don't want to put a lot of this burden on their business users, and they want an agent to be available. That needs to be a custom agent, and some of our customers have built their own agents, which is not too tough, by the way. Within a very few days you can create it, and some of those documentations are very specific, right? And the agent, AI powered agent, will scan through the available test cases, manual test cases that are created already, and refer through product document and the business process document, and then combine all of this knowledge and put together a structured document on the process itself with as much information as possible and the data templates and data models and so on. And for your question, Vital, we would need to understand from your use case, right? What kind of documentation use case that you want to solve, and based on that, we can decide upon to go ahead with task capture or creating a custom agent or a combination of orchestration agent, both a rules-based automation plus an agent. So you have flexibility with the solution, and we can solve that problem for you. And with that, so let's yeah, I think that's a wrap, and we are a few minutes over time. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to be with us, and look forward to seeing you. And Suhani, so I think it's a wrap for us.
Yep.
Right? Perfect. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Please do join the next session, so we have more interesting topics to cover.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.